Greetings and welcome to the Awakening Alchemy podcast. My name is Anna Merkaba. I am a healer, channeler, and guide for the awakening souls, here to help you remember who you are and why you came here. And today, I want to talk to you about something deeply personal, about how I learned to balance spiritual awakening with functioning in society. In today's episode, I'll share what it's like to navigate those two realities, the expansive call of the soul and the grounded demands of daily life, and how to honor both without losing yourself in either. If you've ever felt like you're straddling these two worlds, unable to fully belong to either, this episode is for you. Let's begin. When I first awakened, everything changed overnight. The world as I knew it was no longer the same. I could see through the illusion, feel the energy of everything around me, and nothing, absolutely nothing, felt real anymore. I was operating at such a high frequency that the idea of going back to my old life, pretending I hadn't seen beyond the veil, pretending I could still play by the rules of 3D existence, it felt impossible. I didn't want to be pulled back into density, into limitation, and yet I had no choice but to function in the so-called real world. At the same time, my soul was calling me to step fully into my mission. I was receiving guidance to embrace my role as a channeler, a healer, a guide. The messages were clear. I was meant to assist in the awakening of others. But while my soul was fully aligned with this mission, my earthly reality was still deeply rooted in the 3D responsibilities. A demanding job, family members who had no idea I had even awakened, and a world that did not operate on the same frequency that now I did. I was caught between two vastly different realities. And this was the hardest part, having to exist in two realities at the same time. One moment I was fully connected, channeling, receiving divine guidance, feeling the immense love and support of the higher realms, and the next moment I had to switch gears completely, handling mundane but serious 3D responsibilities that required my full attention. At first it felt unbearable. The disconnection from higher frequencies was painful. The demands of daily life felt draining and uninspiring. Tasks that I once handled effortlessly now seemed meaningless. It felt as if I was being forced to shrink myself, to dim my light, just to function. I reached a breaking point where I knew I had to find a way to integrate both worlds, or I wouldn't be able to sustain myself. I needed a system, a structure, a way to transition between dimensions without losing myself in either. What ultimately saved me was developing a system, something that I call the anchor and ignition method. This method allowed me to move between spiritual and earthly responsibilities without feeling torn apart. And today I'm going to share this method with you. First step was creating an anchor to stay grounded in 3D. I realized that I needed a consistent way to stay present in the physical world without feeling like I was constantly being pulled into higher dimensions. So I created a grounding trigger, a specific set of words and physical sensations that allowed me to anchor myself whenever I needed to be fully present. Whenever I had to focus on daily life, I would say my grounding phrase, visualize my energy settling into my body, and consciously retract my spiritual antennas. I would literally see my antennas fold and retract back into my body, signaling to my consciousness that I was fully here, fully present, and ready to engage in the material world. This simple practice helped me remain focused, clear, and functional in 3D life without losing my connection to the higher realms. Step 2. Ignition. Activating my spiritual connection. When it was time to shift back into my spiritual self, I had a separate trigger, if you will, to activate my higher awareness. To reconnect, I would say a specific invocation, expand my spiritual antennas, feel my third eye and crown chakra activate. There was always a distinct energy shift, a physical sensation that signaled to me, now you are connected. Having these two conscious transitions, one to anchor into 3D and one to activate my spiritual awareness, allowed me to move between realities effortlessly. This became my bridge between worlds, a tool that helped me remain balanced, focus, and clarity. The next thing that I had to do was embrace the 3D world as part of my spiritual path. At first, I resisted everything about 3D life. I saw daily responsibilities as distraction from my awakening. But as I deepened in my journey, I realized something profound. The 3D world is not separate from spiritual evolution. The smallest moments of daily life, every interaction, every choice, every breath are all part of our ascension. Mastering presence in the 3D is just as much a part of the journey as connecting to our higher realms. The way we handle challenges, interact with others, and move through the physical world is a direct reflection of our spiritual mastery. I stopped seeing mundane responsibilities as something I had to tolerate. Instead, I saw them as an extension of my spiritual work. But first, I had to go through integration to understand when the two worlds merge. At first, the contrast between my spiritual path and my human responsibilities felt like a battle. But the more I practiced consciously shifting between dimensions, the more the divide began to dissolve. Now, my life is no longer split between two worlds. It is a full immersion into my mission. I no longer see spiritual work as separate from my physical life. I no longer feel like I have to choose between being present here and being connected there. I exist in both realities simultaneously, and this is what true ascension is about. For anyone struggling with the same challenge, know that balance is possible. And here is how to stay grounded and connected without feeling torn. If you're navigating this transition, here's what helped me. First, develop your own anchor and ignition method. Create a personal ritual that helps you transition between your spiritual and physical realities. Shift your mindset. Instead of seeing daily life as distraction, view it as a training ground for your ascension. Recognize that balance is key. Full immersion in higher realms is not sustainable. You are here to bridge the worlds, not to escape them. Release the guilt. Being in 3D does not mean you are less spiritual. Every moment here is an opportunity for growth. And finally, trust the process. You are evolving exactly as you need to. There is no rush, no need to force it. Your soul already knows how to navigate this. When I first awakened, I thought I had to choose between my spiritual, true, actual self and my human experience. But I now see that the true path is not separation, it is integration. The more you embrace both worlds, the easier your journey becomes. And as you learn to move between dimensions with ease, without guilt, without resistance, you will realize you were never meant to leave one behind. You were always meant to embody them both. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you're walking your own awakening path and feel called to go deeper, whether through healing, guidance, or energetic realignment, I'd be honored to support you. You can learn more about my one-on-one sessions at annamerkabahealing.com. Until next time, may you walk gently between the worlds, trusting your light and honoring your journey.